He forgot that it was at so. Yep. Yeah, I'm waiting in the waiting room for you. All right, here we go.
All right, 7:05 on October 17th, I'm gonna call to order the meeting for Parks and Rec Committee.
Jennifer Bonte.
Here.
Sarah Borkard.
Here.
Derek Look.
Here.
Jed Henry.
Here.
And Trustee Bratton.
Here. We'll start with the reports. Kind of informal. They've started on the small diamond for doing the facelift down there. I don't know when I haven't talked to Shane, if anyone, maybe Mike will fill us in on when it's being completed. I want to give Mike a shout out to the work that he's done around for the landscaping around the pickleball courts. It looks really nice up there. You guys did a great job, especially sourcing some of those stones for free.
Thanks.
So, much appreciated. And then obviously we just had our first pool feasibility meeting. I think that went well, so that's what I've got.
Yeah. So, my son is doing the bricks class
Mhm.
at Park and he loves it, so.
Good.
Really appreciative of that, and I love that we can just go from school to that, and we don't have to manage transportation, so that's really nice. I've been playing pickleball, and it's been really fun, but the fence is definitely an issue, so, definitely an advantage to be on one side of that part. But that was really fun, and I agree, the landscape, that's really great. And then, there's a frisbee golf
Mhm.
cage that's really close to it, so my
Uh,
husband is not taking a frisbee off again apparently, and so he said, he was wondering if maybe that could be moved
Mhm.
away from it, and then he was also asking if maybe there'd be some consideration to add in more cages, like even while the field in our neighborhood's not being used,
Mhm.
maybe putting up some more cages.
That's
And
good.
it's cold?
That's
Yes, yes,
Oh.
yeah.
It's
Technically,
baskets.
the practice cages. Oh, I see. Not a
I don't know if I got that.
You should come. I don't know, he was like showing you the.
I was still on.
Cool.
Our backyard and,
Yeah,
Get used.
I don't know.
we play it, it's just a. I think the students have one too, I don't know. If they're too.
It'd be a nice winter activity too. Barely going to do it this winter. But,
Cool.
and then the other thing was this idea of the Cross Plains Games, which Mike and I were talking about with this other woman, because we said how at Bear Park, there's really a wide variety of activities you can do now, and it'd be nice to showcase that with like pickleball tournament, 3-on-3 basketball tournament, skateboarding competition, the 2 bags, the volleyball, maybe like one giant day.
That could be almost baseball.
All the things, like, so here's so my thought was, it'd be really cool to find someone who has an interest in each one of those things to like chair that activity, but I wasn't sure, like, is that a Parks and Rec thing that would take on volunteers, or is it something that should just like solicit the community who's interested in?
Improve our parks.
Well, and that's what I
Yes,
thought, like,
that's-
so that was the other thing was that it was already brought up too, how like, it'd be really nice to have a drinking fountain by the pickleball courts. So could, you're shaking your head.
No, I just laugh. You're not wrong.
But I feel like if we did something like that, it would be nice to have like a goal of something that we're trying to fund,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it was going to be showcasing their part of the anyway,
It's great.
that's my wondering.
Whoever's been mowing over there like last month or month and a half, maybe 2 months, like does a really good job. Like they really take pride in the lawns. Yeah, like straight.
Oh, on the diamond?
They're very nice.
Yeah,
Like,
that's-
I don't know.
That's Lawns Unlimited.
I mean, it's been just in the last couple months, 2-3 months. Anyone else have anything?
Well, it's not a Parks and Rec, I think, endeavor, and I think it's a misperception that the village owns them, but it's nice to see Lexi's Monsters return to the library of the Chamber of Commerce. there, so, right, so anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big article, I guess, came out for it, so.
And they're adding to them, my kids are like, that's a new one, that's a new one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the village doesn't own those. They had asked the village to take those on a long time ago, 5 years ago, and we were like, we don't have the space for it. There's just those things take up a lot of room. However, we do help with that. So we meet with Dan Barry, obviously he's the one that puts everything kind of out and together. We went out and picked up pumpkins. 48 pumpkins were donated by Enchanted Valley to that project. So we went out and picked those up, and we're distributing them tomorrow at the library. So we're still part of it, but yeah, not the whole, event itself. This is a great thing.
I saw the
People-
newspaper, put out a newspaper.
yeah,
That's a
coming out,
local
right?
Station that had Dan and Laura, right
yeah,
there.
yep.
You were both interviewed.
Oh, nice.
I like it.
Nice. Yeah, they know.
So then, you wanna fill us in?
I just have a few things for you. This weekend is our NFL flag football tournament. The 4th and 6th graders will be in DeForest, and the 5th and 7th and 8th graders will be in Stoughton. If any of you would like to be referees for this, feel free to contact me. I can give you a quick little tutorial on how to do it. But and I know Derek, your sons, at one point talked about it, but I don't know if they're busy this weekend, but we may need.
Baseball's done.
Yeah. Maybe, I'd be happy to sit down and go over with them, go outside and, show them everything that needs to be done.
We're gonna be in DeForest.
You will be there? Yeah. So we normally have about 20 referees, so we can run 8 fields. It's normally what we try and do. So 20 refs throughout the day. And we had a meeting today, and in DeForest we have 9. I'm gonna make 10 most likely, because usually myself and we'll have one other that usually are the directors. So we just take care of all the problems that may happen throughout the day. But we may be just as directors jumping in to ref, I think too, because otherwise it's going to take all day and night. And we don't necessarily want to do that. No, you do get paid. Yeah, they get paid. We pay $20 a game for the tournament itself. I mean, 10. Ideally, we would have about 10 more.
With baseball game, or like
maybe some more.
Solid number.
If you could, that'd be awesome. Let me know. If you could let me know in the next day or two, I'd be happy.
So how much do we make it? How long?
Yeah, it's $20 a game. The day right now will go roughly 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. Depending. I'd say 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. However, they won't work that entire time. I just can't guarantee the number of games. I can't tell you how many games it would be depending on how many kids we can get. Right now, how we have it set up now, kids will work, and we will probably be repping the entire time that we're there. Just how it's set up. But we also minimized it down to 6 fields from 8, so there'll be a few people getting breaks. So normally you'd work a game, you'd get a game off, you'd work 2 games, get a game off, and then you'd work 2 games and you'd be done. That's normally how we have it set up with that.
So 9 for what?
I mean, I'd say right now 9 to 5, but if we were happen to get, and we can just reach out tomorrow actually and talk more about it, because if we make some changes with the number of fields, that'll change it. But even if we could get 4 or 6, 4 more kids would be phenomenal.
And then why is it like a lunch break or something?
Yeah, it's free. They get free concessions while they work as well. And then it'll be like supposed to be 70 degrees. Yeah, it's supposed to be 70 and sunny on Saturday, so it's like the best weather we've ever had for this. We've had some pretty dicey weather. Yeah, rain or snow. So
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident that
you can, yeah, it'd be awesome. That'd be great. And I have all the whistles. Obviously, the ref shirts that they would wear for it, and obviously they have a rule card. So when something does happen, it tells them. I'm gonna put those together. Just pull out their pocket and can look and see like, oh, that's 5 yards and you lost it down, or that's 5-yard penalty. So they don't have to know the rules. They kind of have to know what happens, but not necessarily.
we only heard only Forest.
Right. Yeah. If anyone needs a ride as well, I'd be happy to come back here and get them and take them there as well. Bring them back.
You need anyone in Stoughton?
No, yeah, you
I
guys
was gonna say, I'll be out.
they had Mount Horeb's going to Stoughton as a director, so we have different directors, you know, to go, and Mount Horeb has all the refs this year. All right, so we're excited for it. Obviously, it's a fun event for people. It's a great day. I don't know if it'll continue at this rate if we can't get refs, because every community's been struggling with that all year. We had some damage at the pickleball courts already. I don't know if any of you have seen that. We do feel that we found, I did talk with one of the people that were involved in this. They came forward. We met with them on Saturday actually here. He apologized, obviously. So I was able to get Midwest Seal Coat to come out and spackle it so that no water or any damage was actually getting inside the blacktop. Their plan is to come back this week to repaint it. Once I get that cost, we'll obviously be passing along to the police department for restitution on this. What I've heard is they were actually using their pickleball paddle. It's a graphite kind of one, and they were just hammering it down on there, which kind of surprises me that the blacktop would chip away that easy, let alone with that extra paint. And there's 3 layers of paint on there with a binder. Yeah, I guess that same spot, right? It just kept hitting it. So it looked like a hammer to me. That's kind of weird. Yeah,
It always gets that.
right.
Was it in the home?
It was not an adult. So it'll be that should be taken care of. I do also have Midwest Seal Coat coming out. They were going to come out today, but I think with all the snow that we got, they're going to come out tomorrow instead to give me a quote on what Sarah's talking about within the fence. So to move the standards, they're going to give me a quote on how much that would cost. My plan is to take that quote then to Qualline to tell them that this is what we'll be deducting from the payment. I still have a payment in queue that hasn't been paid to them. Right, yeah, they've done it wrong. So they're about 3 feet off, 3 feet too far to the north on 2 courts, and then 3 feet too far south on the other court. So
If you're at the back of the court, you can't actually.
yeah, like
Especially if you're tall.
right. If you're tall, I was actually all right to serve. It was more of when someone tried to hit one over top.
Right.
As I'm running back, and I actually saw Jed do the same thing. I saw him do it first, and then I played a few days later, and I ran into the back of the fence. So it's definitely, you know, as you get a little more competitive, or you know, right.
Oh, they can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna chime in, you know, for people to think, oh, it's not that big of a deal, because I wondered that at first, like, was it worth like withholding payment? Do we really need to do it? But after playing and running into the fence at least 3 times, like it's just not. We just can't leave it that way.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing too is like over time, it's going to mess with the maintenance of that fence and or those posts. You know, they're going to keep pushing back on the blacktop. It's going to get holes, you know, within that blacktop. Then water's going to get down in there. It's going to freeze, and then you know that whole area is going to kind of break up. So it's definitely something we need to do one way or another.
Yeah.
Kind of moving forward. My hope and plan is obviously not to have to go to litigation or something like this, and that's why I've been trying to be methodical about it, but not also like, you know, and calling them out to say, hey, you're doing this wrong. They would. Yeah. So that's what he's giving me the quote on. The nice thing about the way that they would do it is they have so they bring in a saw that literally is a perfect circle that goes down and takes out the blacktop in those areas. And then they drill out where there'll be a sonotube that will go in, and then the actual standards are their sleeves, so they'll sleeve in. So if we ever need to get in the skate park or anything, we could just pull those out, which would be great. That's actually what we were hoping to do, but Qualline didn't do that, gave us a good price, so went this other route. If these weren't put in the wrong spot, we would still be able to get the skate park. It's just that now the way that they're set up, we can't. The fence would open up about 8 feet, 7 feet, so we could get in with different equipment, but getting other stuff that's larger out, you know, we wouldn't be able to do so. Landscaping, Cody talked about. We have been winterizing shelters and pools, so if you are trying to use those, they'll be locked here shortly. Mary's Place is still going as of right now because we had football last Saturday, but we're going to look to get that one winterized for the season too. With the cold temperatures at night really worried us. I threw in electric heaters into those bathrooms and concession stand for now. over the weekend. And now they're showing 70 degrees on Sunday, but it's just, usually October 15th is the date that I start winterizing. All the bubblers and things on Main Street and in the parks. And if we can get to November 15th to like the end, to do the rest of it, that's usually the goal. But this year it's just been really cold at night, so we started on a little early.
The bubbles.
They are, yeah, they are. I don't know if anyone has noticed, but the new bathrooms at the Bear Park are rocking along pretty well too. That's on the large diamond there. Those most likely won't be able to be in service come spring because we have to wait until well 3 is online before we can turn everything on. That's just how the loan's set up. It's all through the DNR. So that has to be completed before we can actually move on to this next phase of this. But they should be ready, to go at least by summertime when needed. So that's good. And Cody talked about small diamond updates are happening. I met with Seamus on Saturday. There's actually some blacktop areas that had some issues with the work that was done on the backside. We talked about it. He actually talked to his contractor and said it's not a problem. We'll fix it all. So the plan is to kind of go through. He's going to even add more money to it if it sounds like if needed on the backside. And he more or less stated to me, this isn't the end. This is just the start of it all. What he hopes to be able to help with at least through time and be a part of bigger projects and things that could happen. So.
It's really that they did decide to go higher with them.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll have the fence that goes up to the side. I think it's 8 feet, so 12 feet total, and then there'll be a net added to that come spring. They're not going to do that now, but he's going to try to add that come spring to the recommendation. So we talked about. Yeah, I didn't even know they were using USSSA bats, so that's good to know.
Over the phone, given a year ago, they came off his bad pot and I looked at the time. Yeah, they came right into the shelter. Yeah, and then so there's kids that, I'm sure most of the kids are going to modify this bats. Some of them are modifying hotter. Yeah, shave them out. It's like 12-year-old get a ball from small diamonds. Big diamonds. It's not. Never thought of it before.
Things people are doing. And then lastly, you'll notice, hopefully next week, we're going to start trying to get wood chips into all our playgrounds. So those will be up to code as well. We normally have about $5,000 in our park maintenance budget to use for that yearly. That got added to that about 6 or 8 years ago. We used to have it in capital because we didn't have the area, enough space within our budget to do it, but it got added that. So you'll be seeing wood chips added to our parks.
So you're removing the rubber chips?
No. And we'll add actually rubber chips to the one at the pool as well. Yeah.
Did you have, I was thinking about it, did you get more updates about the park over the time?
Yeah. No, it's fine. Yeah. So as of right now, I still haven't heard. The sales rep believes that it should, they contacted me to have diggers come out and make sure that there wasn't electrical lines and all that. They marked the area. We've had it ready for 2 months, maybe at least a month and a half. So we're just waiting on them to have the equipment here and install. The equipment's there. It's just their install crew's busy. Like they're just, trying to get all these in, I'm guessing, but they better hurry up. We're going to be waiting until spring. And then we're going to want and ask for a major deduction on that too. So any questions at all? All right.
Discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of August 15th, 2022 and September 19th, 2022.
So I think we kicked August forward last meeting because
Didn't have a
we have none of us were actually there.
correct. Yep,
Yes.
that is true.
So it should be.
So we'll just do these separate again. Yeah, can. Be good. So August, we had Jed, Derek, and Cody.
August. I make a motion to approve the minutes of August 15th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve.
You'll second it, you mean?
You sure?
all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
All right, and then in September, we had Jed, Jen, oh, those we can do, everyone was here. Except Eric, I guess.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve the minutes from September 19th, 2020. I'll second it.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, update and discussion from the pool feasibility subgroup.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add this, this will be on each time. I think I talked about that, the feasibility discussion group. We're trying to have this on here. We may have some action at some point too. Just to kind of keep the committee up to speed, throughout this process, the feasibility process. Tonight was more or less a meet and greet for the group and also a time to approve the mission statement, of which the group did approve the mission statement from the Parks and Recreation, or the one that we talked about at our meeting with the Parks and Recreation Committee. Was to develop a pathway to a new village pool with input from stakeholders and village residents. So that's going to be the mission of the group as we meet, and we'll be meeting at 6 p.m. Every third Monday of each month. We talked about current location pros and current location cons, the pros and cons of that current location on where the pool is located now. And then we also talked about new site pros and cons, kind of moving forward with that. What our plan is, what my plan will be to do is to kind of write up minutes just like we would in a normal meeting so that you can see those, and will just be a working document from that to kind of gain interest and communicate what we are doing out to the community and obviously this committee itself and also the village board. And then lastly, we talked about next steps. So discuss what we'd like to see in a survey is going to be next month's discussion point. And then we'll also obviously kind of talk again, reiterate some of the pros and cons of the locations that we talked about as well. Yeah, any questions or anything you would like to add?
Just make sure that in our files in the village somewhere.
Oh, yeah,
There's some existing, similar.
Something that's already been done.
Review what they looked at. So,
Yep. Any questions, Jed?
The only thing I was wondering is if we can add either in the minutes or in just a separate email of who's on the committee, since I don't know who joined, just who's in the committee.
Do you want me to include you and Eric as in our emails that I'm sending out to the pool committee?
Yeah, I think it'd be great that I can track it. I don't expect to necessarily chime in or anything, but at least then I can track what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is that we get as many people as possible to be a part of this. It's not just this committee, it's the committee kind of running with the direction of it, but we really need input from the community. And that's where, all of you will need all of you obviously to get that out and be a part of it. So. Okay.
Discussion and possible action regarding the naming of the park playground at 3000 Evergreen Park.
All right, so I don't really know where to start with this because it's kind of a new thing for me, but it's also had so many different discussions within this property and land. But from my standpoint, obviously, I would really like to not see a playground out in the middle of nowhere or out in the middle of village land next to a neighborhood that doesn't have a name by it. So I think it's important to have a name. I think the playground itself, it's only 0.38 acres of land, but it is important to have a name for people to know, recognition of where they need to go, whether we have an emergency call or anything like that. It obviously has to be part of our parks process here. So I kind of put a project background together. So when this project all started, you're able to read that within the memo. And the biggest thing in here was the exhibit. I'm sorry, I gotta find it here. Was the
Yeah, I think Glacier.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I put Scenic Ridge, yeah, so it is Glacier Ridge. I'll show you guys all a map of it as well. But the thing that I wanted to talk about most, and I can't see, was the Parks and Facility Naming Policy, recommended by all of you. So we did do a policy and the policy's in place, so don't have to worry about that. But we obviously want to go along these guidelines, within this policy. So that's why we're here tonight to discuss the new, naming of it. Yeah. So Bear Park is here and, the playground area is located in this section. Oops. So for all of us, we want to look at qualifying names. Things to look for would be geographic location. So is there something within that location that kind of stands out, within that? Is there an outstanding feature of the space or facility? An adjoining subdivision, street, school, or facility? The answer is yes, obviously within all of that. A commonly recognized historical event, group, organization, or individual, living or deceased. So it could be named after somebody, as well, that maybe be known about that property, or known to be around that property. An individual organization that contributed significantly to the acquisition or development of the space or facility could also be part of this. So obviously you see A through G are kind of things that you go through, when you're looking to name a park or facility. The thing for me is that this is Glacier Ridge subdivision, okay? We have Glacier's Edge. We have, everything within this village, I feel like has always been Glacier. Yeah. We have Glacial Valley Park. We have Glacier Creek Middle School. So like all those things have been there. But I really don't want to see a Glacier Ridge Park, unfortunately, even though the sign right up the road does say Glacier Ridge neighborhood. I was out there, on Thursday and Friday to kind of look through it. I mean, it does make sense, but I'd really like to recommend something different if possible, within this process. So it sounds like Sarah and or Jed have had taken this to their neighbors, which is good. We want them to be a part of this process. As you can see in my memo, I kind of wrote, I said, we, as a group, we could go out with a survey to the community or at least to the neighborhood to allow them to provide us with options for these names. Or if we come up with 3 or 4, they can pick the ones, but it sounds like they may have already got ahead of us with that. No? Oh, suggestions for limits. Oh, okay. Okay.
I think. You want to hear that?
So yeah, so let's, oh no, they're all Glacier.
Glacier, now, as a science teacher former,
Mhm.
the Glacier piece is pretty cool, but I mean, there are other words.
Right.
Broaden people, but those names are not as fun. But they also put, so there's Glacier Creek Park, Glacier Pond Park, Glacier Ridge Park. And then there was Pond Park, Prairie Pond Park, Frog Park, because there's so many parks. But, and then Sunset Park, they're very cool. These sunsets from there.
Mm-hmm.
There was Frog Pond Park, there was Bluff View Park, and the little park on Evergreen Park. I mean,
Like Little House on the Prairie. Is that where you're going from here on this? Mm-hmm.
Well, because I was like, well, it could be like Evergreen Park, but again, the lack of evergreens does kind of.
What about Sunrise Ridge? You guys are facing east, right? I mean, right, the
Yeah.
sun rises.
Yeah.
and sets in the west.
It's, but you get good views of both. Sunrise and sunset. I mean, I'm partial to the sun rises. But, the sunset. But anyway, so I mean.
Isn't there a Sunset Elementary School or something?
Yeah,
Sunset Ridge, yeah.
Ridge.
Yeah, Sunset Ridge. That's what I was thinking. Which is fairly close to that.
I don't know. We tried everything.
What about the farm? Is
The Beekner family, is who owned that parcel before. Normally, you wouldn't name that. I mean, you can, as a committee, you can recommend that name based on the, you know, who lived there and who owned that property. It'd be Beekner Park. But normally they would give something for it, right? Not just, you know, when there's a development. We ran into that. We'll be running into this again in the future, just so you guys all know, with another property, the next park that we're gonna have to name in the next
And
6
you
to 8
also-
months.
I
Correct,
think you run into issues too with like the first people, to be honest. like, too.
correct.
You're not always-
What about something like Bluffview Park?
That's
I think
that
that's what they
was
said,
suggestion.
Was there any?
Yeah.
Bluffview Park. Bluffview?
It's funny because there was always a place that I went to called Bluffview growing up.
Well,
Yeah,
what's
I
gonna
know.
be the name of the, you know, because that's how it's.
Yeah,
It's gonna be blue or dinosaur.
Purple Park?
it's like green, it's green,
No,
so
that's like
frog, you know,
Like,
Frog Park just doesn't
I
really
kinda
go
like
with
the
it.
kids' names. No, not Frog Pond Park.
going
I
over
like
the
what-
ponds are, I'll tell you, I think it's going to say that we're going to.
Hmm. Yeah, that's not good.
That's it. Yes.
They all do.
I mean, we could call it Cattail Park too, though. There's a lot of cattails.
School Park. View of the school from the park.
Even the frogs is fun. I just frog park, frog ridge. Could be some other thing.
Glacial Frog.
What type of frogs are they?
There's a lot of frogs. a lot of them.
I think they're more,
What's that?
I think they're more toads than frogs.
Yeah,
Toads,
that's true.
yeah.
I always. I love the frogs.
Toad Park. I mean,
The frog and toad. I like those parks. Isn't that frog and toad?
Kermit's Corner.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think we do Kermit. We might get. I mean, I'm fine. If you were to decide and say Glacier Ridge, it's just, it literally has to be the last.
It's just
The last
it's
part.
not interrelated. Yeah, it's
Well,
not
the
interrelated.
Conservancy area is actually Glacier Ridge Conservancy.
So this would expand, yeah. Or that's already called.
Boy, it does fast up. so
Correct. To the hillside. Yeah, the hillside is Glacier Ridge Conservancy. That has been.
Right, so I mean, right.
It's just that it doesn't, you know, it doesn't join in with that now. Because the village board hasn't decided on, that's not considered parkland, it's considered public facilities space or public space. I think it's what they called it. Something weird. So that's why my whole deal was like, this was gonna be Bear Park, right? Like, just expand Bear Park. That way there isn't any confusion. I think even in my activity, I call it Bear Park East, you know, just for expansion portions, but you already have a playground there too, so you would need to, you know, which is fine. I've seen that in other parks where they have more than one.
Bear Park 2.0.
Yeah, right. Hmm.
And then you get some kids and put like parking, like parkers.
Or why didn't we?
The other thing is this is 0.38 acres. It's literally just a playground, pretty much in this space. And so when and or if this other area expands in the park, people are gonna be really confused.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, if it runs it inside the fields or whatever.
right? They're gonna be like, well, is it Bear Park or is it that Frog Park?
So then you gotta keep it
Yeah.
Glacier Ridge Conservancy or whatever.
Well, the conservancy aspect of it, that doesn't bother me because you wouldn't really I don't call any of but the village never made a method to call the conservancy areas the same as the parks, except Cedar Glen. That's the only one that they did, but the other ones are, well, I guess there is Glacial Valley Conservancy, but it's away from the park. I mean, ideally, maybe you'd even call it just Glacier Ridge Playground.
Yeah.
You know, put that right on the sign that just says Glacier Ridge Playground rather than a park. And then, yeah, I know, it did, but well, when I went out there, I wrote this all up and then I went out there and I was like, oh, I forgot about the sign. When you go into their neighborhood, it actually says Glacier Ridge. And I was like, shoot, like I didn't think that there was,
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Like the area is branded already.
right.
You know?
Yeah.
So why not try to?
And at least there's a ridge with this one. The other one's glacial.
Like, kind of like, Frog Park at Glacier Ridge. I don't know, I just think the kids would have more fun,
Frog Park Playground at Glacier Ridge.
but. Wow.
And is there never like, you can't raise money for name rights or something at this point? Like,
No, you could, and that's the other thing, right? If that's where the whole branding aspect of that property goes to, is like, okay, you want soccer fields. You know, you need $500,000 to get your name on the fields or something, you know, like, or the name on the park. That could be something too, I don't know. I guess I don't wanna tie,
When would the sign
Yeah,
go
I
up
feel
in the
like-
spring?
I don't, it's not really going to be like the destination park, so maybe Glacier Ridge.
Glacier Ridge Playground.
It like helps connect the dots for people who don't live around
Right.
here or Colin, I mean, it's like, here where it's. kind of at,
Right.
essentially.
What do you think, Jed? You live over there and it's in your backyard, literally.
I mean, I don't know, you might not like this, but the only idea I had it would be to name it after you is Axon Park. I mean, you do
Name it
more
after
for
what? No, I don't want that. Thank you, though. I don't want that. No.
you
If
do
I
more
was- yeah.
yeah.
Especially since it took so long, I don't want my name on that one.
I just don't know how else to differ that, you know, I haven't heard any. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my best suggestion. I think you get very little recognition for the amount of work that you do, and, you know, to have your name on something for all the time that you spent, that's my personal feeling, but
Yeah, I appreciate that. And
We're gonna call
I
it
don't
Jackson Pool.
yeah, there you go. Once I give a quarter of a mil or something, right? I appreciate that. It's very nice. I also, I'd like to see it stay, you know, within our normal naming of our facilities or whatever. And I appreciate it though.
do we have to name it right now?
We don't. I just want to get the ball rolling. So as you also see within that, the committee and the plan commission approved the new park signs within our parks. My goal was to get a new sign, that one of the new signs, which is attached to this email as well, so it'd be like this. Sorry, Jed, you probably can't see this, can you? Oh,
Anything?
so it'd be like this sign here, that would say, you know, and it says Glacial Valley, so Glacier Ridge Playground, and then it would have, you know, the address to it. We wouldn't have the park hours because those could change. That was one thing that the plan commission has to take off. So I did. I don't know why I shouldn't have showed this one, but it would have, you know, the address to it, at least 3000 Evergreen Parkway, and then Glacier Ridge Park or Glacier Ridge Playground, whichever we would choose for that. It'd be the only sign we'd have in there that would actually just say playground, but I think that's okay. But my goal was to update our park signs with this new signage, park signage, and then also our conservancies with this one as they came needed. So, you know, if, for instance, this one was the one that Tim Hillenbrand wanted to donate to John, you want to call it John I. Hillenbrand Glacial Valley Conservancy, which already was that name, I should say that, over off of Bourbon Road. That's what got us to the point of, I said, well, if this is the case, I think we need to do a manual then and make sure that we keep the same regulations for all of our parks. So when new parks come in, we can do that. And I guess the village board has not approved this yet. Have you, were you,
This
it was before you, I think. I know, that's what I thought.
So.
That's what I thought too. So it's kind of disheartening as well because they put a lot of effort into this, and obviously the committee to like say, yeah, let's do it. I just wonder why, you know, it hasn't been approved. So I guess the thing that was the hangup, Jay thought the hangup was this part, the number of signs. He said that's not okay, and I was like, okay, well, it doesn't have to be a part of it, but the whole plan was only to do new signs that either needed to be updated, like they got hit by a car, or the posts are getting bad, or they need to be repainted, or you can't, you know, it's hard to read them. If I had money in our current operating budget, so not adding more money to the budget, then I would get a new sign at that park. You know, I'd bring it to you to say, hey, what do you think? We're gonna do this, and then, you know, you'd give me the approval, per se. So that's still my plan. I mean, it's still, I was hoping to be able to offer this opportunity within the new park over here too, because you have new playground equipment. Why wouldn't, I mean, I don't want to put up one of those routed wood signs personally. I think it's time, you know, to do this. And the price, I don't feel is, the price was $300 difference from a routed sign to this. And I was like, okay. I mean, this is going to take minimal maintenance. Those routed ones were out there. We paint them, if we have help, we paint them every other year.
Okay.
So,
That's really, that's thinking back to people, they're not necessarily thinking about, but it really is making them, oh, they care about recreation.
yeah.
Taking care of.
And it puts our village logo out there too, for, you know, branding purposes that, you know, I think is kind, you know, and to.
So other than the park name, is it that you would present this again to the board to say, is this, we're gonna add a sign to this park.
Right.
This is the policy we'd like to adopt.
Well, what I would plan to do is if we come up with 3 names, we go out to you can take it to them and bring it back to us next month. That'd be great. Then you can choose that. In the meantime, I'll contact Vital Signs and say, hey, could you give me, you know, or once you get to the point where people voted on it, or if you all want to say Glacier Ridge Playground, we could do that as well. I could have them do that. You guys next month would approve that, to recommend for approval to the village board. I would take it to the village board and say, this is what the committee has come up with as a new sign to be added to the playground. And I would be moving forward with it. It'd be more of an update for them. It's not costing any more money. We need to have a sign there anyways. And it's within the budgeting of this project. So that's my hope. Do you feel comfortable, Jed and or Sarah, just taking Glacier Ridge Playground as like the park name or playground name, and to your constituents out there and see if they're okay? Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people can talk about it and say that's okay, or do you want to take a few options?
I mean, would we just table this till next month then? Is that the thought?
Yeah, I mean, I guess don't table it. Because I've heard now that if you table something, it's dead. You can't ever bring it back up. But I would say it's been postponed until next month. Yeah. But I mean, we kind of have some direction to go. You know, if you'd like for me to ask Vital Signs to give me can't think right now, but what's that? No, like a proof. If you'd want them to show a proof of it.
I would say give us a week. I think we just send out a
Feel
note.
free to have a seat in the audience.
Does anybody else have any suggestions, or does anybody hate it, or give me your feedback, and we can see where things go. And if we don't get anything in a week, then go to Vital Signs and have it drawn up, and and then you can meeting.
Sorry, Jed. Actually, what I could do is just do what I did here. This is what it would pretty much look like. I could just change that from Glacier Valley Park to Glacier Ridge Playground, put the 3000 Evergreen Parkway across the bottom, and then send it to you. You could put it up on the Facebook site.
Do you have the drawing of the park too?
I do. Yeah. Yep. Kind of like maybe I don't want that yet, if they're not going to put it in tomorrow or the next day.
I keep on wanting to say, I didn't want to say anything because I was afraid people are going to be like,
Yeah,
is it ever happened?
I know. I feel that way too.
The Glacier Playground, is there any other, is that or settled on?
Glacier Ridge Playground, I think, I mean, it makes the most sense.
I like the neighborhood primarily, but I also want it to be relatable to others in the village, like we knew what the playground meant. Like this dinosaur park, for 16 years, and never figured out what dinosaur park was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just, well, everyone called it that.
Brothers Tree House Park, Liberty Park.
The kids
Yeah,
will like
what
call it different.
Right, but we can, I mean.
The
people
kids will call
call
it
it
Frog
whatever
Park.
they want, yeah, they don't care about.
You want this, right?
I can see the kids call that tunnel park. Tunnel, there's a tunnel.
Tunnel? Oh, within here?
Mhm.
There was a frog.
You need a bound, can,
Rabbit.
if you do those spring thing.
Why do we have rabbits? Because, so there's also like owls and hawks. I mean, I see owls.
Yeah, there's a lot of owls. I agree. I would kind of cool. Yeah,
But the owls and the hawks.
Well, I
So
could
we
look-
have rabbits.
I could ask him how much another springer will be. That's a frog.
You know, I think that's.
They're
It's
cheap.
fine,
I know.
but I wouldn't.
A rocker, 1,300 no, $1,390.
So when you put like, you put like 3 kids on it or an adult and 2 kids trying to get it to rock, it will, it'll rock much anymore. We'll see.
But yes, I will get you that, and actually, I'll Photoshop the sign in here.
Okay.
And then you can say, what do you think of this name and like how it looks? How about that?
Well, I didn't know if we should have a second option. I mean.
Yeah, we can. That's what you're here for.
Yeah, I just think when you watermark it.
Hmm?
You watermark it, I mean, like, could somebody inadvertently or misinterpret and say, oh, no, that's the new part, Glacier Valley. Like, could somebody in the neighborhood, if it got posted, be like, no, that's the new part, Glacier Valley.
Oh, so put like concept plan or
Yeah,
something on it?
yeah. like-
Well, this is the park.
Okay.
This is the park. It would just say the sign would have to be determined, right? Like, but yeah,
Sure, I don't know, I was just,
Lily pads. Maybe lily pads would be on that. Because I'm looking at those steps.
he's here. Like over, can't see my thing.
There's no really.
I tried.
I mean, that's the thing is,
We should have had this in the concept discussion. Frogs. You didn't know there was that many frogs till now, right? What were some of the other names? Frog playground. We could call it Bluffy U, wasn't that, or Scenic Sunset Park? Maybe Sunset Playground at Glacier Ridge.
yeah.
Sunset Playground at Glacier Ridge Park or Glacier Ridge. I don't know. That's a lot of words.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing, I was like, it's getting kind of complicated for a little playground. That's why I kind of.
This whole thing's a disaster.
What?
This whole thing's been a disaster.
Disaster part.
Yeah.
Not shady.
No, I'm sure. I think. I mean, I like Glacier Ridge Park. Glacier Ridge Playground. I can really get behind that because that's all it's going to really be right there. I know. Well, because I went out there and I saw, and it's not that far from it.
No, I know.
That's the thing. And I was thinking like, okay, if we were to have a development like this, right? Or we did, if they would have had a park, they would have had naming options at that point. And they probably would have named it Glacier Ridge Park, you know? But
I think
Right.
it would be, and it would be helpful because
you paid
it's
for it.
funny when people call like with these, or, you know, when they refer to it. Okay, all the people moved to this town have no idea, it's like
Mhm.
Wisconsin direction,
Mhm.
why would it old, you know, whatever it was.
Where the Sanders used to live.
Right.
Yeah.
exactly, right,
In 1982.
you know what I mean, it was? Right. Yes, so. It would be that way, right, because people, I mean, then we probably need to move beyond, we can't say Meridian neighborhood anymore either.
Right.
So, actually, people knowing where Glacier Ridge is would be helpful.
Sure.
I mean, it's near Glacier Creek also, so that.
Yeah.
Or the glacier, not the glacial.
Yeah, I know. This is the glacier side of the community. That's the glacial.
I do, I
Glacier
mean.
Creek Park.
So Glacier
Yeah,
Ridge.
perfect world, we have like this thing. Right. I know, there's just not very good.
Well, I think Glacier Ridge Park is fine. And would be,
Park or playground?
I mean, none of the other parks are set up that way. Even the small Gauswitz, it's Gauswitz Park, even though it's pretty much just a playground.
You know what? It's right on your park.
I know,
And I think that
I
makes
know,
sense,
it's gonna
Dan.
be an
You
issue.
wanna keep park out of it,
Yeah.
playground.
I don't know.
You're okay with the playground? I was just hoping by the time I explained it, I was gone and didn't have to worry about it. I'm just
Mike,
kidding.
yeah, sports complex.
Yeah,
That's where you want your name. I'm
no.
sorry, I'm not.
Two Parkway.
No, I don't even know how many people about.
Matt Shanky did all of those names.
Well, how does
Did
it
not
change?
spend as much time as we're spending. But-
True.
Oh, there's shade trees or something.
The funny part is in our meetings, we're like, who came up with all these names? And he's like, I did. And we're like, oh.
When I, you know, I was in Madison, I lived on the corner of Mammoth and Saber Tooth.
Hmm.
It's a farm or.
Yeah, I agree.
And we were near Ice Age
Yeah, the trail.
Drive or something.
That's cool.
And Bear Claw Way.
Hey, that's cool.
All kinds of, yeah, but see, I feel like making a park this, it would have no features.
Yeah, it's
of
too
it.
small. And it's, yeah,
Yeah, we have.
like we're wasting it. Kind of wasting it.
Yeah. it should be good.
I mean, I would take a name, I would take a motion from you guys to,
Comfort would have been kind of cute, because it's.
Next to
a little
Bear?
baby of Bear Park.
that is true.
You can do pictures.
You come up with that now.
No.
Are we name of the park?
If you would like to, I would be fine with that, sure. How do I stop? Someone,
I'm trying to find the minutes, I can't find them now, I was gonna read off,
minutes for,
or not the agenda, I was gonna
Oh.
use the agenda.
here you go. Put it back up here.
Okay. I will make a motion to name the park playground at 3000 Evergreen Parkway, Glacier Ridge Playground. You know what I'm saying?
With a sign.
I know, I was
or
wondering about
something,
that.
yeah, If
And
you'd like.
with the sign is, the committee's prior signage policy,
Signage
a draft
manual.
signage policy.
Mhm.
Awesome.
All right. All in favor of naming the playground at 3000 Evergreen Parkway, Glacier Ridge Playground, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carries.
You all right with that, Jed?
Yeah,
All right, perfect. One thing I'd like to do as well, I know it's not anything to do with adjournment, but have on in here for like future meetings. I know we talked about that the last one too, but I think it might be good if there are anything that you all want to, like any of you ever want to bring up or talk about, to know that you can have it added to the agenda. You just have to email me, or if it's on there for future discussion, we can obviously talk about it too. So just keep that in mind as we kind of go forward with things.
So then I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.